football show. This is not the usual scene that we're used to. I do have a lot going on this week, just family in town visiting, my recording time slots, availability, few and far between. So I'm out walking the dog, but then also previewing the second round of the college football playoff. A little bit of cleaning it up before we get into that. So on Sunday, I went live and I decided that the college football playoff, the second round, deserves its own episode. I didn't want to lump it in with a recap of the ACC season, especially with how sad the ACC was this year. So we're doing a preview for the second round all on its own. The problem is I went live, did the ACC recap. Anybody who tuned in, thank you. Appreciate the support. Anybody who was not able to watch live and tried to look for a video, I do apologize. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties. Video never got uploaded. Video's just gone. I promise I was live. I did go live on Sunday. Video's gone though. So may run it back this Sunday. I will be recapping the second round of the playoff. That would be on Friday. And then Sunday morning, we'll run it back, do an ACC recap, because something happened to that video. So let's get into it. I do apologize if I do not have any specific stats where somebody's ranked, what somebody's exact yardage is, exact scores, that sort of thing. Again, due to my not being able to record my usual time slots, I don't have my laptop, I don't have my notes. It is me just out walking my dog, freeballing it, freestyling it. I also don't remember what exact order these games are going to be played in. The only thing I do know is that Ohio State and Miami are up first. So we'll just start with that game. And here's the thing too, when it comes to this second round, it feels like, I'm not going to say everybody, but it feels like there's a small group that thinks, and actually Vegas kind of thinks so too. If I remember correctly, this line was at 9.5 for the Ohio State-Miami game. A lot of people think that Oregon's just going to run through Texas Tech. A lot of people think Indiana is just going to run through Alabama. A lot of people think that Georgia is just going to run through Ole Miss, which that one I probably would agree with the most. And a lot of people think Ohio State's just going to run through Miami. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. We've got a Miami team that is one of the more talented teams in the country. Especially along the lines of scrimmage. Mario Cristobal is known for building his teams from the line and out, which honestly is smart because that's where games are won and lost, lines of scrimmage. The only problem, there's two problems with Miami. The first one is Carson Beck. You got a quarterback that when he is on, man, he's on and watch out. But when he's off, man, he's really off. If you watch that Louisville game, hate to put the blame on one player, but kind of have to put a lot of the blame on Carson Beck in that game. You look at the loss to SMU now, a lot less of the blame can be placed on him for that one, but that overtime, that interception in overtime, that one was not good. So when Carson Beck's on, he's phenomenal. When he's off, he's really off. So you don't know what Carson Beck you're going to get. The other problem with Miami is you've got Mario Cristobal. While yes, he is a great recruiter, both in high school and through the portal, and yes, I do think he builds his teams the right way from the line of scrimmage and out, his in-game coaching decisions, his in-game management, it leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. So you add in a quarterback who has the potential to be really off that day and a coach who is just going to make some decisions that make you scratch your head. That's my biggest worry for Miami. That's been my biggest worry for them all year because they have the talent. It's just quarterback and Mario Cristobal. Now, Ohio State, I mean, undefeated all the way to the Big Ten championship. Really, that is a game that they are probably kicking themselves a little bit, but I'm sure they're not that upset because whether win or lose the Big Ten championship, they're still going to make the playoff. They were still going to be a top 4 seed. But they got to be kicking themselves a little bit because that is a game that they could have won. They had 2 drives, could have been more, but I believe 2 drives in the red zone, and they came away with no points. One time they went for it, didn't get it. The other time, kicked a field goal, missed. And if you watch that game, man, first half, Indiana had their number. Julian Sain looked uncomfortable as hell. And you thought, oh, this isn't looking good for Ohio State. But by that fourth quarter, Ohio State's offense was actually moving the ball pretty well. It's just couldn't finish the drives. It is what it is. But again, win or lose, they were still going to make the playoffs, still going to be a top 4 seed, still have a bye. So I don't think they're that upset that they lost that game. If Miami wants to win this game, first of all, obviously we have to have Carson Beck be on. He can't be off. Because if he's off, then it's game over real quick. But if Miami wants to win this game, they got to get pressure on Sain. And I feel like, I mean, that's obvious. Everybody's going to listen and be like, well, no, duh, dude. But I mean, really, that's what it comes down to is Miami has to get pressure on Sain. They have to get him uncomfortable. He's only a redshirt freshman, guys. He's still young. Get pressure on him. And they can do that because we saw what they did at Texas A&M. I think it was, 7 sacks. Bain just absolutely wrecked them. Who else was it? Messidor, I believe. Just that defensive line manhandled Texas A&M. I don't think they're going to manhandle Ohio State. But if they can get pressure on Sain, get him uncomfortable, they have a shot. Where I think Miami has a little bit of a disadvantage is I don't think, yes, I know that Malachi Toney's great. He's also a true freshman. I think there's still a lot that can be unlocked with him. I don't love Miami's receivers. And I think that could be an issue in this game. I like Mark Fletcher. I think Miami should be able to run the ball a little bit. They do have a great offensive line. Again, a lot lies on Carson Beck. Is he going to be on or off? But man, Miami's receiving core, just not the biggest fan in the world. I do think Ohio State wins this game. I do think the line is a little crazy. Because this game, I mean, Ohio State's going to win. It's either going to be a close win or an absolute blowout. It really all relies on Carson Beck. I do think Ohio State is going to win this game. I do think that line is a little crazy. But yeah, give me Ohio State in that one. Let's go Indiana, Alabama. I picked Indiana to win this game. But I don't think it's necessarily a guarantee like people think. Yes, Indiana's undefeated. Yes, they have a great win at Oregon against Ohio State. And I mean, people are going to disagree with this and hate me for this, but I think that win against Penn State was also pretty decent. Penn State's still a talented team. Argue with the wall. I think, and I made a video earlier this year doubting Indiana, and I then had to make a follow-up video saying I will not say a bad thing about Indiana the rest of the year. So don't take this the wrong way, Indiana, but I don't think they're going to win it all. I think it is, especially with a 12-team playoff now, especially with transfer portal, NIL, talent getting spread out, going undefeated is, I'm not going to say impossible. It's not easy. It was never easy to begin with. Now it's even harder. I think Indiana's not going to make it all the way. I do think they win this game, though. This is an Alabama team that, great to start the year, besides that loss to Florida State, has had absolutely no run game the whole season. And it really hasn't mattered for the most part because their pass attack was phenomenal to start the year. But as the season went on, as they got a little banged up, Ty Simpson faltered down the stretch, Ryan Williams kind of disappeared, couldn't keep Simpson upright, too many turnovers. The passing game struggled, Alabama struggled, and then we saw that 17-point comeback against Oklahoma. Now, I've been on record as being an Oklahoma hater. I did think Oklahoma was a little overrated. I thought Alabama should have beat them in the first game, but they didn't. So take that how you will. Again, I think Oklahoma was a little overrated, but people are going to say the same thing about Alabama. Alabama has the talent in this one. Actually, if you break down the roster, just based on like high school rankings, Alabama's got a more talented roster than Indiana. Indiana's probably better coached though. I will say they are going to miss, I believe his last name is, I am so bad at pronouncing names, Daly, is out. If you didn't see the injury, celebrating the Big Ten championship win, jumped up to give a fan a high five and knee buckled, and he's out for the year. That's a huge loss for them. I don't think it's going to matter because Indiana's great on every level on defense. Defensive line's great. They're not as great now. Linebackers are pretty decent. Secondary's good. Ryan Williams disappears a lot. I think they can shut him down. Then you just got Jeremy Bernard. In that Oklahoma game, a lot of drops from Alabama's receivers and tight ends. This is not a guarantee win for Indiana, as Indiana fans would try to tell you, because Alabama is a good team. They have a great defense. They have a great passing attack. Terrible run game. Similar, this is going to be, I mean, this is the theme in every game, but if they can get after Fernando Mendoza, because here's the thing, usually throughout most of the season I was saying, if you can shut down Indiana's run game, force Fernando Mendoza to beat you with his arm, you can win. And I still kind of believe that, but as the years gone on, I've started to believe that less and less. I think the key is shutting down Fernando Mendoza in this game. Believe it or not, let them run the ball, or let them try to run the ball. Shut down Fernando Mendoza. Don't let him get Cooper involved, Surratt involved. Shut down that passing attack. You beat Indiana. I think this is probably going to be a low-scoring game. I think Alabama's going to struggle against this Indiana defense, vice versa. I think Indiana's going to struggle against this Alabama defense. Give me Indiana, but give me them in a close one. Oregon and Texas Tech. This is the one I feel like the most people are saying, you know, it's going to be a blowout. Texas Tech does not stand a chance in this game. The Big 12 is terrible, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to let you in on one of my beliefs. You may not believe it. You may not agree with it. I think the Big 12 is better than the ACC. And I don't even think it's like a coin flip, a toss-up. I think like a good step above the ACC, at least this year. I'm not saying like, you know, obviously Miami was a good team. Miami's a great team. Virginia's good. Georgia Tech's fine. You know, I mean, they're just not. I think we just saw BYU beat Georgia Tech in the bowl game. I think the Big 12 is better than the ACC, but that's just my opinion. You may not agree. Texas Tech is a team that I don't think they have the best defensive line left in the playoffs. I think that could go to either Ohio State or Miami. But they definitely have the best linebackers. Those linebackers are deadly. Jacob Rodriguez, 10 forced fumbles or something crazy like that. Just he was up for the Heisman, or kind of up for the Heisman. He wasn't going to win, obviously. Great linebackers, but they do have a very good defensive line. And I think everybody knows that, everybody's seen it, but because they're in the Big 12, people are kind of just disregarding it. And I'm here to tell you, you can't. Because that Texas Tech defense is legit. I think Oregon is a team that loves to run the ball. They've got a great run game. Texas Tech's a team that I think the most they've allowed in a game is like 126 to Kansas State. That's not a lot. And to have only one team do that, that's crazy. Do I think Oregon is going to get more than 126? Yes. I think Oregon will have the most success of any team that we've seen this year against Texas Tech. But it's not going to come easy. And I think we may see Dante Moore struggle a little bit to start the game. I know there's a theory, I don't know if it's a theory necessarily, but people are wondering, like, Will Stein, what's his name, Lofi Tapoy, or I don't know, the defensive coordinator. I never remember his name. It's a little different. Because they're leaving to be the head coaches at Kentucky and Cal, how invested are they going to be? Because the portal does open here in a couple days. Are they going to be distracted? There is that element. I don't really buy it, because let's be honest, Tosh Lapoy, Will Stein, they've got people in place already. They've got people that they trust with recruiting. Yes, they have final say if they want to go after a player in the portal, but they've got people to take care of that. You're in the playoff race right now. You have a great chance of winning it all. I really don't think it's going to be a distraction. Now, I didn't mention this with Ohio State. Ryan Day is calling the plays. Brian Hartline is out at calling plays, which I'm not shocked, because let's be honest, Ryan Day has had a hand in calling plays all year. We can't pretend that he's not. But yeah, Brian Hartline's not calling plays for Ohio State. I forgot to mention that. Oregon's defense, I think, is what worries me in this game, because this is a Texas Tech offense that, throughout the history of time, for the last 25 years or so, has just always been explosive for the most part. And some are going to argue that in that James Madison game in the first round, Oregon's defense just let up. That they had the game won. Why do we need to, shut them out and keep trying that hard? Save ourselves for the next game, that sort of thing. And that's, I think, part of the truth. I also think JMU had a very good offense, so that's truth is somewhere in the middle. I didn't love that, though. That is not something I have Oregon making the national title game. But them letting JMU go for over 500 yards or 400 yards, whatever it was, and score 30-plus points, didn't love that. That does just worry me slightly. Oregon is a team that, when they are fully healthy, and it sounds like they're pretty close to full health, they are one of the scarier teams in the country. Like I said, that defense after that JMU game is making me a little nervous. I think the Texas Tech defense is going to be able to slow down Oregon to some extent, but Dante Moore, honestly, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I think he's underrated. He's got plenty of weapons to throw to. If Texas Tech can shut down one, can shut down two, he's got 3, 4, 5 that he can throw to. Oregon has too much talent. I'm not saying Texas Tech's not a talented roster. I'm not saying Texas Tech can't keep it close, make it a game. But I do think Oregon comes away with a win in this one. And then finally, we've got a rematch. Georgia and Ole Miss. Obviously, Lane Kiffin's gone. He's not going to be coaching in this one. We already saw this game. It was a game that Ole Miss dominated the first 3 quarters and then got absolutely stuffed in that fourth quarter. This is a Georgia team that, at that time in the season, was having terrible first halves and then sometimes even a terrible third quarter, but turning it on in the fourth. That's what we were seeing from Georgia at that time in the season. Since then, Georgia's gotten significantly better defensively. I'm not saying that Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss, can't move the ball a little bit, can't score a little bit. But this is a different Georgia defense than what we saw the first time around. I think it took 3 quarters to figure out how to make Trinidad uncomfortable. It's not going to take 3 quarters in this game. I'm not saying it's not going to take a quarter or a half. They're going to get it figured out pretty quick. I think Ole Miss will have some success. I don't think we're going to see the shootout like we saw the first time around. I think similar to like Ohio State from last year, I think Georgia's peaking at the right time. I think everything has really started to come together just right at the perfect time. Like I said, the defense has been playing great, especially at the end of the season. The offense has been good all year. Run game significantly improved from last year. Gunnar Stockton has been great. Give me the Bulldogs in this one. I don't think none of those picks are controversial. They're all the favorites. Last year we saw every team that had a bye in the first round go on to lose their first game. Oregon, Boise, and the like, Georgia. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think I would say at least 3 of the favorites move on. I think all 4 move on clearly based on my preview here. But I'm really excited for these matchups. Last year, I was less excited for the second round because, we did have Boise playing in the second round, which was a little crazy, absolutely crazy. I'm pumped for this second round of the playoffs. I think they're going to be great games. And I don't think there is a path for every single underdog to win. Now, some more than others, but there's a path for every single underdog this week. And I can't wait to watch it. Thank y'all for joining me. I will be back Friday to recap the second round. And then we're going to try it again on Sunday. And Sunday morning, we will recap the ACC season. But yeah,